Good evening and welcome to the April 23rd meeting of the Auburn Board of Selectmen. First, in accordance with open meeting law, I'd like to announce that this meeting is being recorded and ask if there's anyone in the audience also recording the meeting. Seeing none, could you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we have no one who has signed up for public comment. So the first agenda item that we'll be dealing with tonight is Town Manager Julie Jacobson's evaluation. I will read the letter that was provided to Julie prior to this meeting. In the packet are all the Board of Selectmen's scores, and then I will move from my right to myself in asking board members if they have comments. I will open it up if there are any public comment, and then I will give the CFO and the town manager an opportunity to speak as well. So here we go with the town manager's evaluation. Dear Julie, I am pleased to provide you with a summary of your evaluation by the Board of Selectmen. As you know, board members were to submit their completed evaluations with any written comments to me so that I could prepare a summary, cumulative scores, and a final overall score. All members of the board included some level of written comments, whether on the evaluation form or on a separate sheet summary. Again, I would like to acknowledge and thank you for the level of depth and detail in your self-evaluation. The additional information was especially useful and will become part of the record. This certainly was of assistance to me, and I would assume to all board members in completing the evaluation. The evaluation was based on the approved evaluation form and 5 additional town manager goals. The average Board of Selectmen score for the evaluation form ranged from a 4.18 to a perfect 5.0, and ranged from a 3.6 to a perfect 5 for the 5 goals. Individual selectmen scores range from a low of 3.9 to a high of a perfect 5.0. Julie, I am pleased to share with you an overall performance review score of 4.66. The public evaluation has been scheduled for the April 23rd, 2018 meeting. I am sure I speak for the entire board when saying I look forward to this meeting so all members can publicly acknowledge your hard work and dedication. Congratulations on your excellent review, and thank you for your dedication to the town of Auburn. I look forward to working with you as we continue moving forward in a positive direction for the entire town. And I signed this letter, and in the packet, the town manager's evaluation was based on a number of items, including relationship with the Board of Selectmen, town administration, budget and finance, community relations, and then the 5 town manager goals, which were complete the housing plan under the community compact, develop a leadership academy, develop chapter 61A and B procedure policy, continue the master plan process, continue the zoning bylaw review process. And so, Mr. Berthium, we have your written notes in the packet. I don't know if you want to read these or just to okay.
I'll just quickly read mine.
Okay, go ahead.
Julie continues to impress me with her ability to excel in all facets of her position. I feel that I am well informed about issues and events, and she is always quick to respond whenever I have any inquiries. She is very knowledgeable on each topic or issue, signifying that she has great communications with her department heads as well as the community. She seems to have great respect and cooperation with her staff as well as her department heads, and that appears to be a major reason that the town of Auburn is continuously successful and heading in the direction that is good for both the residents as well as business. Our select board seems to work well together, and though we don't always have the same views on things, Julie supports each of us and respects our independent views. She makes it a pleasure to work with her as well as her staff and my fellow Board of Selectmen. In my view, I see that Julie has to involve herself in good topics as well as bad. She handles herself very professionally. She listens to all views and makes her decisions based on what is right and what is best for the town. She is respectful and empathetic. She is happy to help residents and businesses and is not intimidated by some that seem to push their own agendas. It has been a pleasure working with Julie for the past 2 years, and I look forward to the year to come.
Thank you, Mr. Boothman. Mr. Carpenter, did you want to make any comments?
Yes, I did, actually.
Thank you.
As is in keeping with my past habit, I do not comment upon the evaluation that I've given to the manager publicly. I consider this to be a situation between myself and the manager. We have met previously to discuss my views as well as her own, and I stand ready to meet with the manager. However, I will say that I feel that this evaluation represents my personal opinion, what I've observed, and I think it's an excellent and fair evaluation, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Mr. Hallstrom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, this is my 6th evaluation of Auburn's town manager, Julie Jacobson. I find today, as I have in the past, that this one is one of the most important responsibilities that I have as a selectman. I evaluate her on her goals and activities as agreed upon, not on what she could have done. She received a perfect score of 5 from me. Julie is professional, proactive, progressive, and personable. It's a pleasure to know and work with her. She continues to promote goodwill and cooperation with all the town departments, boards, commissions, committees, and our volunteers. She pays close attention to detail and is active in many state and local boards. In her participation, in her participation in those boards, she can recognize issues or benefits that may arise and address them early to assure a correct, timely response in the best interest of the town. Her plans and ambitions continue to provide needed and desired programs to benefit residents and taxpayers. Policies have been drafted by Julie and our CFO, Ed Kasanovitz, and approved by your Finance Committee and Board of Selectmen. That by your, this will provide a strong financial stability, and policies now continue to be researched to further enhance our fiscal management. Town administration researches and applies for grants which offset our town operating budget and enhances town departments, operational equipment, programs, and services. Grant receipts are significant. In Julie's tenure as town manager, she has worked closely with the town departments to provide the best services and infrastructure improvements possible. You will see the professionals of fire, EMS, police, and DPW provide the needed and required services in their day-to-day operations. What you will not see is the volunteers and appointed committees, as well as boards and commissions, diligently working on facility improvement plans, capital equipment plans, economic development plans, town master plan, and the emergency management plans, all to benefit our town and to provide for a safe, welcoming community. Also to build upon and promote Auburn's commercial, residential, institutional, and recreational character. I'd like to genuinely thank our committed, dedicated department heads, their employees, boards, commissions, and volunteers who so well serve the town of Auburn. And to our town manager, thank you, Julie, for making Auburn the best that it can be. It's a great pleasure to know and to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hallstrom. Before I read my comments, I really want to acknowledge the room full of people here. We have the town manager's leadership team, department heads, town employees, and there are even boards and commission members here tonight. I think that's very telling of the support that the town manager has, so thank you all for being here. So I will move on with my public comments. After careful reflection on yet another banner year for the town of Auburn, and after thoughtful consideration of each component of our formal evaluation, I have decided to rate the town manager's performance as distinguished in all applicable categories. This is not something I approach lightly. As a selectman and a resident, I have the highest standards and expectations for those given the opportunity to hold leadership or managerial roles within our community. After a great deal of thought, I must say that I truly feel once again the town manager has done an exemplary job, above and beyond what is expected in that position, in a way that has made real, positive, and noticeable impact on the quality of life here in Auburn for our residents. While a long report in nature, I highly recommend all residents read completely the manager's self-evaluation to have a true understanding of the commitment Ms. Jacobson has made for the betterment of our town. Though I continue to offer suggestions and feedback throughout the year as I evaluate the manager's performance this evening, I am pleased to have so many positive achievements to highlight. Moving through the categories in our evaluation procedure in order: relationship with the Board of Selectmen, an area that impacts us each as selectmen in our own working relationship with the manager, and in turn, the manager's relationship with this board as the executive of the town. As I have in past years, I have found Ms. Jacobson to be professional, polite, responsive, inclusive, helpful, and engaging as town manager in her dealings with me and with this board. When a difficult or challenging situation occurs, Ms. Jacobson is not hesitant to be clear, direct, and firm when the situation calls for it. Serving as chairman for the past year has brought additional responsibilities and challenges. Ms. Jacobson has been especially respectful of my schedule and time constraints. She has aided in addressing questions and issues raised in the role as chairman. For that, I am personally grateful. Throughout the year, I have brought residents' concerns to the town manager, which he has taken the time to investigate, address, and respond to in a courteous and professional manner. That exemplifies the respect she shows not only to the members of this board, but also to the broader community. While the very high majority of residents have been appreciative of the response, we must also acknowledge the small number who are not. I am confident that Ms. Jacobson has addressed these issues appropriately within the, within the law and within the best interests of the town in mind. Sometimes it's as simple as someone not liking the answer they received, although it's the correct one. Under town administration. In the area of town administration, Ms. Jacobson continues to distinguish herself. Ms. Jacobson has a clear understanding of the town's charter, the town's bylaws, regulations and policies, Mass General Law, open meeting law, and the state ethics regulations. I must also note within that category that in my elected and professional capacity, I attend Mass Municipal Association events throughout the year, and the reputation of the town of Auburn has earned because Ms. Jacobson's professionalism is extraordinary. Our town manager is highly respected around the Commonwealth and widely sought after for her advice and guidance from other municipal leaders. The facilities managed unit within the DPW continues to impress with work done throughout the town. While this is a DPW division, it shows the commitment to working together for the good of the town. The town's successful assumption of management responsibilities for the golf course and in the beginning of needed work on the facility also reflects Ms. Jacobson's strong management. Thus far, we have achieved the best possible income with the golf course showing a profit. In her role as Chief Procurement Officer, Ms. Jacobson seeks to procure materials, supplies, equipment through the most cost-effective means under the state procurement laws. She also continues to develop and implement various green initiatives. A smooth, organized, and successful town meeting is key to success within the town. Ms. Jacobson plays a role in its success. Working with CFO Kazanovich, Ms. Jacobson oversees the preparation and presentation of the town warrants for the annual town meeting in May and the special town meeting in October. Together, they provide detailed presentations which gives town meeting members information for an informed vote. Moving on to budget and finance. Of course, the highlights of the manager's performance in this category, in addition to the source of pride for our town, that will have an impact in real terms of reduced borrowing costs in the future, is the town's bond rating upgrade to a AA2 received from Moody's. This achievement is a major component of why I have chosen to give such a high ranking to the manager's performance in this category, and it reflects the successful execution of careful long-term planning. I will also note that during the audit presentation, board members are reminded that financial policies adopted by the town are used as models throughout the Commonwealth. This achievement is also a reflection of the manager's excellent working relationship with our town CFO, which is in keeping with the spirit of cooperation and collaboration she has fostered throughout town government by example. In addition, Ms. Jacobson's leadership has resulted in the town's increase in reserves, as well as addressing pension and health care liabilities. She has also been diligent in ensuring that the town applies for grant funding for which we may qualify, and has achieved a notable rate of success. During the 2017 calendar year, there were a total of 46 grant applications with a potential of $600,017 awarded. Of those, 44 were awarded with a value of $556,857. Certainly an impressive total, understanding that most of these are competitive grant applications. Under Community Relations, a highlight of the manager's work under Community Relations category is the continued efforts by the manager to reach all residents of the town. Recognizing that residents use many sources for information, she continues to reach out in many ways. The town's social media sites, Facebook and Twitter, as well as the town's official website, are used frequently to communicate news, alerts, and events to the public. The quarterly newsletter, Code Red, and Auburn Cable Television are also used to the fullest for getting information to the public. For those who prefer to communicate by email, the manager has responded to an impressive 3,833 email correspondence in 2017. As I reflect on this category, which is critical for what the town government is not for what is a town government if not responsive to the needs and concerns of citizens, I thought on various communications I'd received from residents throughout the year, by the comments in person or otherwise. It is rare in municipal government that positive feedback even outweighs negative feedback, which is a simple reflection our human tendency to comment mostly on what needs to be fixed. But the opinions expressed to me of our town manager this year have been universally positive. In closing, finally, it's worth noting that each of the specific goals of the board had established in accordance with the town manager's contract, we can mark completed. Those goals were complete the housing plan under the community compact, develop a leadership academy, develop a 61AB procurement policy, continue the master plan process, and continue the zoning bylaw review process. These goals were an enormous undertaking and done while still meeting the ongoing operations and administration of town government. Ms. Jacobson is constantly setting new goals, pushing herself to achieve them. Never someone to rest on her laurels, she's skillfully and adeptly anticipating the next challenges that Auburn will have to face, and getting right down to work, inspiring our whole team of municipal employees right behind her. Returning to the overwhelming positive nature of the feedback I've received from residents this year on the manager's performance, this is what, in addition to achieving the goals set forth by her by this board and effectively managing the affairs of our town, has led me to give the manager the highest rating available. It is so encouraging to hear residents excited and enthusiastic about the direction our community is taking under the manager's leadership. It is clear to me that what is emanating from the manager is more than just hard work. It's a positive, can-do attitude that is permeated throughout the town. In Ms. Jacobson, we have more than a manager. We have a leader. Only a true leader can inspire a community in quite the way that she has. Thank you. Are there any comments? Did anyone want to comment? I'll close it to public comment and open it up to Ms. Jacobson, and actually I'll let the CFO go first.
So I'd like to make a few comments tonight, and I know I speak on behalf of the entire management team through these comments. The measurement of a successful and effective town manager is a person who is able to motivate personnel. and who earns the respect of each and every member on her team. It is a person who communicates and listens to daily problems, who praises and inspires her department heads to be the best that they can be. Julie embodies all of these great qualities, and who leads by example. She works side by side daily with her management team, and together we all strive to meet overall goals and objectives that positively impact our town and our community. Julie's honesty and transparency are key to loyalty and to the cohesiveness of your management team. Speaking on behalf of Auburn's management team, I'd like to congratulate you on a superb evaluation. And we can all look forward to working with you and together taking on the many challenges in the year to come. Thank you.
You're up. You're up.
How do you follow that? Thank you very much. I want to, this is it's always a difficult night for me to have this. Most people have their evaluations privately, and you can have one-on-one dialogue, and it is the process under the law that it's a public evaluation. For those who are wondering, why would you ever subject yourself to this? It's part of the job, and it comes with it. So first of all, I want to thank the board, each and every one of you, because it's difficult for you as well. You're evaluating me publicly as well, and putting your thoughts and concerns and issues in front of the cameras and everybody who's listening. So it's not an easy process for you either. So I thank each and every one of you. I appreciate your individual support, your collective support throughout the year as we work collaboratively on behalf of the residents, the businesses, and all the taxpayers in Auburn. And as always, I'm humbled by your comments. I thank you all for the feedback that you provide, not just this evening, but really on a daily basis throughout the year. I think we all have a great relationship together, and that's why we're getting things done. It really is, and I say it every year, and I have to say it because I mean it, it's an honor to be the town manager here. It's a great community, but I think one of the most important things is I'm just so lucky and fortunate to work with this Board of Selectmen throughout the year, because we come up with initiatives that enhance the quality of life for Auburn's residents and provide a high quality of services to the taxpayers of this community. And most importantly for me, to be able to sit here and hear good things, I can't listen to it without saying, as I always do, this is a we, it's not an I, and I know it's my evaluation, but I truly believe it's a reflection on everybody here. And if I look out, there isn't a person sitting here that I wouldn't thank personally and commend for their dedication and commitment to this town. I don't think the residents realize in depth the commitment that the town employees have made to this town and make every single day, day in and day out, and their families, because when they're here, they're not at home. And it's not just a job, it's a profession, and the people that you see sitting here before you are committed to that profession, and they're committed to Auburn. And that's why we have such a great team. So again, those achievements that you've highlighted tonight for me would not be possible without us. And I thank all of you for taking the time to come tonight for this evening to give your support. I'm very proud of the achievements that we made over the past year. Some of you pointed it, but a couple of them I just want to point out, and they are very time-consuming, and sometimes you just see the end result, and you don't necessarily see all the work and all the time and effort that goes into it from multiple departments. Most of the goals that you all set and we agree on do involve multiple departments, and that's the beauty of the goals. You set the goals, we put them as goals for the department heads, and then the department heads work on achieving those goals with their departments and their employees. So everyone's working together toward the same vision. So just this past year, we completed the Economic Development Strategy Plan, the Comprehensive Housing Plan. Both of those received $25,000 each from the state, which was a great project for us. And we also completed the Drury Square Vision Plan initiative. We developed a new Chapter 61A procedure and policy that the board adopted, and we also developed the first ever Leadership Academy, which began in March, and I think we're 4 or 5 nights into it, and it's going great. We also had another successful year at the golf course, generating a $50,000 net profit for the second year in a row. And I want to congratulate all of those in the room that are involved with that, and there are many, many of you through DPW. We designed and constructed the new Packagug hiking trail, and I call it a hiking trail. Please don't think it's a walking trail. Don't go out and try it unless you're prepared to hike. It's a good exercise, and it's definitely a slope, so we want to warn people about that. We completed several facility improvement projects throughout the town at all the municipal offices, and we initiated a new grant-funded opioid awareness program in partnership with the schools and through a grant from the state. We accomplished these milestones, importantly, while maintaining a strong and responsible financial position, and we adhere to those financial policies adopted by this board and by the Finance Committee. We met our benchmark level of reserves that were sought by the bond rating agencies, which enable us to borrow for capital projects, including schools, at a lower rate, saving thousands annually in interest costs, which I know many of you, that has been a goal, an ongoing goal every year. And for those of you who haven't seen some of the standardized forms, one of them actually is budget and finance. And we are proud to report that every year we have a new financial policy. We've adhered to the existing financial policies. We've built those reserves to the levels that they should be at. And now we have a new free cash policy that was adopted this past year, which again is another accomplishment of the administration that will allow us to take up to 50% of the excess over and above that benchmark that we need to hit to use for one-time expenditures that will again save the community and taxpayers dollars because we won't have to borrow. So those are big accomplishments for us in the past year. I believe the chair mentioned it. We applied for 46 grants totaling about $618,000. In this past year, we got 44 of them awarded to us, which is phenomenal. I want to thank every single one of you. It is an ongoing goal for every department head to seek and secure grants to help the town and help their departments, and they've just done a phenomenal job. Since 2011, when I started, so this is my, just completed my 7th year, we've actually been awarded 182 grants totaling about $3.5 million. So collectively, departments have worked very well together in achieving these financial goals and securing grants, and we're going to keep doing that. Although there really is no time to thank every employee by name, I do want to recognize and thank the executive management team, Ed Kezanovich, the assistant town manager and CFO, Fire Chief Steve Coleman, Bill Coyle, our DPW director and town engineer, Darlene Coyle, the director of development and inspectional services, Police Chief Andrew Slukas, Mike Marino, the director of information technology, and Mark Moss, who's our emergency management director. Excuse me. These talented and dedicated professionals lead their departments efficiently and effectively day in and day out and enable me to accomplish the goals set forth by this board and the goals that we as an administration set for ourselves in addition to these goals. So my heartfelt thanks to the command staff also at both the police and fire department, many of you who are here this evening, some of you standing, some of you sitting. I want to thank you. I can't say enough. This community has a tremendous public safety team that is led by these dedicated professionals who protect and serve the citizens of this community every day. And it's amazing to see how you operate, and leadership comes from the top. And whether it's your chiefs or your department heads and your management team and your leadership team and your command staff, it shows in the work that you produce every day. I also want to thank and recognize the assistant department heads and division heads for their hard work throughout the year. And I do want to mention them. We meet on a regular basis, and I want to thank all of you who were here in addition, but I want to just name some of those, the division and assistant department heads. Again, I want the residents to know we are a team, we're cohesive, we work together, we strive to meet goals together, we resolve problems together, and I just want to make sure everyone knows who's behind a lot of this. So Matt Benoit, Jean Boulette, Jean Collins, Amy Contois, Larry Corbin, Cindy Cosgrove, Eileen Dyson-Alexander, Deb Du Bois, Ken Fairbanks, Chris Hugo, Jeff Mitchell, Caleb Moody, Miriam Murphy, Kristen Pappas, Joanna Paquin, Deb Shelton, and Cheryl Westwin, as well as Town Clerk Deb Grimo. And while in an elected position, I like to point out we work great together. Deb does run her own office, but she is absolutely part of the team, and I want to thank her for her support, too. I also want to thank Sharon Kwiatkowski, Sue Strozina, and Shannon Regan, who's now our new Economic Development Coordinator, replaced recently, 2 weeks ago, or 1 week ago, by Rachel Pressey, for all the support that they provide to the Town Manager's office, as well as to your office as a Board of Selectmen. They do yeoman's work every day, dealing with the public, dealing with citizens coming in, and making sure that things tick along. So I want to make sure that everyone understands it takes a whole team in our office to handle all these. And the mention of the 3,833 emails, we do have a separate account set up so we can track that. And these are just emails that go into the town manager's account, and all of you help respond to all of those. So Having a strong management team, I really believe, is the key to effective operations and to the ability to identify and implement new technologies that we've done, new processes, so we can continue to provide great services to the taxpayers of this community. And lastly, and I see a couple of the volunteers who are here this evening, have to thank the volunteer board, commission, and committee members for everything that you do for the town. We need you, and you are there to help support town administration. We have limited resources, every department, and we need to rely on volunteers at all levels to help us accomplish a lot of these goals. So for all of you who dedicate your time and effort to the town, in addition to your full-time jobs, we are forever grateful for that. So I'm fortunate to work for an extremely, you're just an outstanding Board of Selectmen. Each of you works very well with me, and I'm very fortunate, again, to work with this talented team of professionals. I couldn't ask for a better community to work with and to serve. And I look forward to continuing to provide this level of excellent service to the residents of this community in the coming year, and continuing to always strengthen and support our strong management team that are key to all of this. So thank you, and thank you all very much. Knock over the flag. Thank you very much. Lionel, thank you.
And I'm just going to ask for a 2-minute recess so that we can clear the room.
So moved.
Second.
Any objection? All those in favor?
Aye.
We're in recess for 2 minutes. Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting back into session. And moving on with the agenda, is there a motion? Mr. Carpenter
I'd
has a
like to
motion.
make a motion that we move up Board of Selectmen General Items 6B, 6C, and I believe we have 6D.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, so voted. So we've moved up the Boy Scout items because we know that we have a school-age child here who needs to get back home. If you could join us up here, please. Good evening.
Good evening.
If you could, are you here for the fire station? Are you Troop 101?
So I'm with Troop 101.
Okay, so the first item we have is a seasonal open-air license at Auburn Public Library parking lot for Boy Scout Troop 101 on May 25th and May 26th. If you can tell us a little bit about it, please?
Sure. First off, good evening, and thank you for the time this evening. My name is Michael Villa. I'm the Scoutmaster with Troop 101, which is chartered with the Congregational Church here just down the road. Every year, this being the 20th year, the troop runs a yard sale at the library each Memorial Day weekend with the opportunity to raise funds to help our boys and the program that we offer in scouting. The main goal of the yard sale proceeds is to help our boys go to summer camp. Every year, our troop goes on one of several various trips. Last year, we took a trip up to the Adirondacks in New York, did whitewater rafting, caving, and a bunch of other high-adventure, exciting courses. This year, we'll be attending summer camp at Treasure Valley in the town of Rutland, and participating in a week-long adventure with several hundred other scouts throughout New England. This costs us about $400 per scout each year, and we try to do what we can within scouting to keep costs not an issue. So the fundraising is an opportunity to go directly to those boys, their families, and we've had the luxury of being able to allow our scouts to go for as little as $0 on these adventures that currently we're looking at about $4,000 it's going to cost for summer camp this year. So the community has always been great in supporting our efforts, both in terms of donations and funds that we're able to obtain from that, and we're hoping to have the opportunity to do that again. Thank you.
Thank you. So just for the record, the application is for the 2 days, but on Friday, it's after 6 p.m., after the library close.
Yes,
That's just for
correct.
the setup. Okay.
Correct.
Do members have any questions? Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the license, provided that all applicable requirements of the state and town and any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said license is subject to all conditions stated upon it, failure to comply with any and all conditions shall invalidate the license and render it null and void.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Is there an additional motion on
I'd like
this
to make a
application?
motion that we waive the fee.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Thanks. Have a successful yard sale.
Thank you very much.
So moving on, we have the seasonal open-air license at the Fire Station Boy Scout Troop 101 for a bottle and can drive on April 28th from 8:30 to 1 p.m., and we can take the second one with it because it's the same date. We have a seasonal open-air license at the Fire Station Auburn Pack 101 clothing drive on April 28th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Would you like to speak towards the clothing drive?
Yeah, my name is Eric Chilton, and I'm the Cub Master for Pack 101, the Cub Scout pack that's sort of the feeder system for Mr. Villa's Troop 101, the Boy Scout level. I'm accompanied tonight by my 10-year-old son, Otis Chilton, who is a Webelow Scout in that same pack, and we're applying for this open-air permit so that we can collect clean and usable clothing items. We get a bit of the proceeds back from those donations, and we'll use, our plan is to use those funds to defray some of the costs of some camping outings this spring for the Cub Scouts, particularly scouts that don't have all of the camping gear that they might need.
Okay. Are there any questions? So I actually have a question on your clothing drive, because I'm a little familiar with it. I know you said clean, used clothing, but is this like a textile where you turn them in? So even if it has blankets with tears or whatever, as long as it's clean, you get paid by the pound for it?
It's through Cash for Clothes,
Okay.
which is I think it's run by Millbury Textile Recycling.
Right.
Their front-end store is in Worcester,
South
near
Street.
the auction house there.
Yeah, so I just want residents to know that it's more than a clothing drive to give people clothing, but if you have old sheets, old blankets, anything made of fabrics, they take them as textiles as long as they're clean.
Correct, yeah. So spring cleaning is a great
Absolutely.
opportunity to assemble those and drop them off at the fire station.
Great, so if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion on the first one, which is the seasonal open-air license for the bottle drive on April 28th.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the license provided that all applicable requirements of the state and town and any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said license is subject to all the conditions stated upon it. Failure to comply with any and all conditions shall invalidate the license and render it null and void.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's voted. Thank you.
I'll
Is
make
it-
a motion to waive the fee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Thank you. Under the seasonal open-air license at the fire station for Auburn Pack 101 clothing drive on April 28th, 9 to 1 p.m. Is there a motion?
I would make a motion that we approve the license provided that all applicable requirements of the state and town and any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said license is subject to all conditions stated upon it. Failure to comply with any and all conditions shall invalidate the license and render it null and void.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Is there an additional motion?
I'll make a motion that we waive the fee.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Thanks so much for waiting and coming in tonight, and I hope you learned a little bit about how your government operates tonight. Thanks for waiting.
Thank you.
Thank you
Take
very
care. So we're going to go back to the original agenda. So we're back to public hearings and presentations. We have Mid-State Auto Group for a motor vehicle Class 2 license and auto repair license at 496 Southbridge Street. That was at 7 p.m. Is the applicant here? Can you come up to the table and join us here? Hello. Come up to here.
Oh, right up there?
Yeah, we can hear you a little bit better when you're closer.
I'll make a motion that we open the hearing.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
The 7 o'clock hearing is now open. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
You could give your name for the record and tell us a little bit about why you're here tonight.
Ray Butler, I'm the owner of Mid-State Auto Group.
Brett Epstein, I'm going to be general manager.
All righty.
So we have our main lot up at 810 Washington Street, and we want to open a secondary lot to sell pre-owned vehicles and also repair vehicles. And what we're going to do is we want to bring our trade-ins down there, and we want to market it as cars under $10,000.
And just for the record, the abutters have been notified. And they have met with DCG. Did you?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Yep, we met with them, and I do have these, if you need the receipts.
Yeah, you can give those to Sharon. Thank you so much. Thank you. Do any members have any questions? Mr. Holstrom?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Under your application, it says, "Used vehicles to be displayed, sold, and serviced." Now, is there going to be sufficient room on that site to service vehicles? Or what kind of service are you going to be doing to them?
There is a lift inside there, and we have 5 lifts up at the bigger lot, so it's pretty much just going to be overflow of the vehicles that are going down there to get worked on or sold. Any kind of major jobs will go up to the bigger facility, and this will pretty much just be basic maintenance down there.
Okay. May I?
Yes, of course.
Secondly, how are cars going to be delivered to your site?
Well, we know there's an issue with Route 20. I have a 2-car carrier. Most of the vehicles that we buy do get delivered without having to use a big truck. And most of the cars that are going to be sold at that facility, 496 Washington Street, will come from the other lot. So they'll just be driven down.
They'll be, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And just to follow up on that, you're aware that there's no unloading on Route 20?
Yes,
Great.
absolutely.
Are there any additional questions? Is there a motion to close the hearing? I'm sorry, is there any public comment on this? Any abutters here? Is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, so voted. Is there a motion regarding the application?
I make a motion to approve the license, provided that all the applicable requirements of the state and town and any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said license is subject to all the conditions stated upon it. Failure to comply with any and all the conditions shall invalidate the license and render it null and void, and with the conditions as recommended by the DCG to be placed on the license.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, so voted. Congratulations on
Thank you.
on your new location, and I know you've been in town for a long
Yes,
time,
yes.
and just want to acknowledge how supportive you are to the community as well as many of the agencies within the town. So
Thank you.
we appreciate your not only staying in Auburn, but growing your business in
you.
Auburn,
Thank
and we
you.
wish you the best of
It's
luck.
a true honor to be in this
Thank
town.
you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The next item we have is L&L Certified Auto, Inc., doing business as Automotive LLC Auto Repair. That's a 705 application hearing. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
The hearing is now open. Is the applicant here? If you want to come up and join us at the table, please. Oh, thank you. All those in favor of opening the hearing?
Aye.
Any opposed, so voted. Formalities, thank you, Mr. Holstrom, thank you. So, good evening, if you could just give your name for the record.
My name is Paul Marengo Jr.
Thank you. And just tell us a little bit about your application tonight and what your intent is.
I own DT Automotive, currently located at 525 Washington Street. We are in the process of purchasing L&L Certified. We'd like to move our business license down to 199 Southbridge Street.
Do any members have any questions?
Everything seems to be in order.
Absolutely, L&L has been there for a long time, and we wish you well with that. So everything, you have the certified notices. The abutters have been notified. Are there any abutters here who wanted to comment? If you could come up, please, to the microphone. Just please give your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tom Kais. I live at 18 Eden Ave. Actually here just to say thank you to L&L, fully in support of this, and I know this is more than just a financial matter because you guys have always treated your customers well, so welcome to the neighborhood.
Oh, that was very kind of you. Thank you. They've been in business for a long time, and it's good to see that they've made this transition well. So thank you for coming in to make a positive comment. Is there anything else? Do you have anything else?
No, ma'am.
Motion close the hearing.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Is there a motion regarding the application?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the license provided that all applicable requirements of the state and town and any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said license is subject to all the conditions stated upon it. Failure to comply with any and all the conditions shall invalidate the license and render it null and void, and with the conditions recommended by the DCG to be placed on the license.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion under the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Congratulations, and we wish you well.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Great job.
We have no communications under Board of Selectmen general items. The first item we have is the Dogfather transient vendor license for a mobile food truck in Auburn. Is the applicant here? Good evening. If you could come up and join us, please. Welcome. If you could just give your name for the record and tell us a little bit about your application.
My name is Mark Gallant. I own the Dogfather hot dog truck, and I want to set up at Sheldon's on Friday nights for bike night. Pretty much it. Not much to do.
Okay. And you've met with the DCG?
Mm-hmm.
The members have any questions? Mr. Holstrom?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I understand that you are at Sheldon's. Are you going to be going around to different locations in town? It sounds like there's various locations that are on your
Yeah, I don't have
application.
anything planned right now, but it'll be a yearly permit, so the hope is there'll be something else come up, you know?
Okay, so then you're aware that the Board of Health will have to be notified of any, you know...
If we go someplace else, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holstrom. Mr. Berthium?
I just have a comment on that. The last vendor that was at Sheldon's, I think the events are getting more moved toward the back, but I just want to reiterate that the way that they set the truck up kind of had the line of patrons going toward the entrance of the, from Route 20. So when you set up your truck, if you can make sure that the line of patrons that are waiting for, to get their dogs are going away from the entrance. And I just kind of, that was a safety issue for me, so.
Makes sense.
You're probably not aware of it, of that.
Yeah, no, I figured they'd tell me what it's set up, but they probably know that same thing, yeah.
Yeah, it was a safety issue, so. Is there anything else, Mr. Carpenter?
Madam Chair, through you to Mrs. Coyle, I just had a question about the hours of operation.
Darlene, if you could come up, please.
More to the question is, does the Board of Health control these? I don't like to leave it open-ended.
Oh, the hours?
Yeah.
Mr. Carpenter has a question on the hours of operation.
So we have received the application. Mr. Gallant has handed in the paperwork. It is under review. Mr. Gallant did attend the DCG, and we would cover that for when we do his inspection and review what he's going to be doing at Sheldon's. I believe he has already corresponded with the Assistant Director, Ms. Alexander, so that would be covered. But certainly, I believe, and it's my understanding, please jump in if I don't have it correct, but you would be attending the bike nights to provide food, and it would be in accordance with what the event for Sheldon's would be. So additionally, DCG has reached out and had Sheldon's come to a DCG, so we do have the event overview and what happens at those events, what time they're scheduled, the dates, all that is separate. Mr. Gallant would be supporting food operations at those events. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's 5, I think they said it was 5 to 8 or something like that, yeah.
Does that answer the question?
You're going to handle the hours of operations. That's my concern. I don't want to leave it open to, depends on the event. I would like to know that someone is paying attention to what hours we're operating and things of that nature.
So the application, just so you're familiar with what Mr. Carpenter is referencing, the application, it asks for the days and hours of operation, and written in it says depends on the event. So I think Mr.
Now I
Carpenter would like
understand.
reassurance that the Board of Health it's under your purview to have a record of the hours of operation.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Is there anything else? Do you have anything else you want to add?
I'm good.
Is there a motion?
I'd make a motion that we approve the license, provided that all the applicable requirements of the state and town and any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said license is subject to all the conditions stated upon it. Failure to comply with any and all the conditions shall invalidate the license and render it null and void, and with the conditions recommended by the DCG to be placed on the license.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Thanks.
Thank you.
Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Moving on, we've handled agenda items 6B, C, and D. So the next item we have is a vote on the 2018 annual license renewals for secondhand, commonly known as junk licenses, per the list. Enclosed is a list of annual renewals for secondhand licenses that will expire on April 30th, 2018. The DCG has reviewed the list and advises that there are no specific concerns about granting the licenses. And so the list that we have before us is Best Buy Mobile at the Auburn Mall, GameStop at the Auburn Mall, and Hanush Jewelers at the Auburn Mall. Are there any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the license renewals, provided that all applicable requirements of the state and town, any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said license is subject to all the conditions stated upon it. Failure to comply with any and all of the conditions shall invalidate the license and render it null and void.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. The next item is a request to change owner information on a flammable storage permit at 481 Washington Street and 860 Southbridge Street. Enclosed, we have a letter from the town clerk, Deb Grimo, with the request to change from Mal Used to LLC for the gas registration at both, and the new name should be Lee Milts Petroleum, Inc., care of Getty and Jericho, New York. Are there any questions? Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we make the change of ownership as outlined in the memo from the town clerk dated April 6, 2018.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Moving on with the Board of Selectmen items, we have gift acceptance in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A, and to the DPW Recreation Department, a very generous gift from Hometown Bank in the amount of $2,500, and this is for the concert at the Independence Day event.
Madam Chair, I'd make a motion that we accept it with gratitude, in addition to having a letter prepared for the chair's signature.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Did you want to comment on that at all? Just that they'll be recognized at that event, right?
Yes,
Hometown
correct.
Bank?
Yes,
Okay.
I should say that. And Hometown Bank, just so you know, we do apply for this through a program that they have, so we do fill out an application. I think this is probably the 4th or 5th year that they've supported the Independence Day event, and we're just so grateful. We do provide an opportunity for them to speak at the speaking portion of the program if they want to just acknowledge that they've sponsored the band. But they're just a great supporter of the town, so thank you.
Thank you. And we took a vote on that? Yes. Thank you. The next item we have is a drain layers license, and it is the short form because they've been previously licensed. It's for Elliott Construction Services out of Charlton. And you have the application from Mr. Mitchell, I believe. Are there any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we accept the drain layers license for Elliott Construction Services of Charlton.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. The next item we're moving on to, we have no proclamation, so we're moving on to town manager items. The first item is the town manager's goals and objectives. Ms. Jacobson.
Through the chair, thank you very much. This is the annual time to set the goals, and I know per the contract, we do this together, and generally I provide suggestions for what I'll be working on. So there are a couple things I just want to point out, and I think we talked about it last year, but again, it is April, so really they're not a full year goals, because I'll have to report on these in January, so it's about 9 months. So hopefully we can get going on these. I start doing the evaluations of the department heads and their performance evaluations in May, so next week I'll be starting, and I incorporate in their goals for the coming year whatever goals are given to me by the board, depending on the department and what their role is. So it really ties in nicely with what the department heads do as well. So a couple things I just want to point out. This year, we do have 10 municipal contracts, union contracts, just on the town side alone. All 10 contracts are expiring on June 30th, 2019. So Ed Kazanovich and I start negotiating. We start with the research that goes into it, the prep work will start in June. If not May, we wait for the budget to be done, and we wait for other towns' budgets to be done, and then we start doing our analysis and research. So we get our letters out in May. We really start doing the analysis all through the summer. Then we send out notifications to the unions that we would like to proceed, and this whole process will go from now until we want to get the contracts hopefully all done by June 30th of next year, including getting the MOAs in place. You know, occasionally it hasn't happened yet, but I won't say that it couldn't happen, that it would go past that date. So that is going to be our major focus this year, and I understand that can't really be a goal because you can't evaluate me on a process that you're not privy to in the way, because we're sitting at the table, but I just wanted to make you all aware that is going to be a major time constraint for both myself and Ed, and then for the individual department heads. I look around, I know police, there's 3 unions there, there's 2 in fire, there's, Bill would be involved in 2, plus a third being the clerical. DDIS has a union, so there are a number of unions, and some department heads have multiple unions, so it's multiple meetings. But I also want to point out, we have saved the town, estimated, just based on the amount of hours that we all put into it, probably over $100,000 a year that we're not paying out for an attorney to do these services. If we need an attorney, we won't hesitate to protect the town to bring an attorney in. We haven't had to do that, and hopefully that trend will continue. We have great unions. We accomplish a lot when we do collective bargaining, but it is a time-consuming process. So I ask you that in anticipation of me. I wanted to propose 3 goals this year. In actuality, I will still be working on the master plan committee and the zoning bylaw review, which has been a goal for the last 2 years. That's not going away, that's still there. We hope we can wrap up the master plan. I didn't want to put it as a goal because we have a town meeting warrant article to give us the final dollar amount for Chapter 9, which is the transportation section. If for any reason that didn't pass, I can't guarantee we could wrap up that master plan. So I don't want to make a goal that's contingent upon a town meeting vote for funding. So I would also say that in addition to all the negotiations, the master plan, the zoning bylaw review committee, it's all the standard things that we'll be doing anyway, but those are the major things. So I would propose 3 different things that, one, we would certainly like to be working on and we'll likely be starting, and the other 2 we're just literally starting this week, and they're going to take quite some time. So the first one is, and I believe Selectman Carpenter had suggested this last year, and I thought we were going to do it last year, and it involves every department in town, and it's so comprehensive we couldn't get it all done. And other things came up that we had to kind of switch to, including a lot of weather-related incidents that really took a lot of DPW's time and facilities time. So I propose the following, the 5-year facility improvement plan that we presented to this board. It was a goal of mine back for the year 2014, submitted it to you, and you approved it, not approved, you saw it, and it was done in January of 2015. Our intent is to do that every 3 to 4 years. We actually, on a less formal aspect, we look at it all the time. There isn't a month that we go by. If something happens to any of our buildings, we pull that plan up, we look at it, we make some adjustments. Bill Coyle, myself, Ed, and all the department heads, we would like to update that to show what projects have been done since 2015 when the plan went into effect, and then look at it and make some changes, and there may even be some financial changes that we have to make. We want to identify funding sources when possible to get something done. Now that we have a new free cash policy, that may change the way that we can get some of these projects done because they're one-time projects. The last 2 years we've had was it overlay surplus that we used for some of the projects on that list as well. That was not, we weren't using that at first. So we'd like the opportunity to update that and present it more in a formal way than just informally. So that will take all of the next 9 months to get done. The next one is the swimming pool feasibility study. And it is an item on here, but I just want to make it clear, because as usual, there's always some question about this. So just so the public knows, the board and myself and Ed have spoken with a potential donor who's willing to donate a substantial amount of money toward a public swimming pool. Prior to the town administration making any recommendation to you as to whether we should accept that donation and move forward on a pool, we need data. We need information to give to you and for us, so we can make an informed recommendation to you, and then you can make an informed decision. So we did apply instead, we applied to the foundation, the Pappas Foundation, for a $30,000 grant, which we received. We put this project out for quotes, and we selected a consultant, BSC Group. We signed the contract about a month ago, and we've been working with them for the last month on getting ready to go forward with this feasibility study. We hope tomorrow we'll have a SurveyMonkey survey out, and the draft was finalized this afternoon. That should be going out. That will be available through ACTV, hard copies at the Senior Center, on our website. It's to inform, it's you as board members and us as to whether, A, will the public, do they want a pool? B, if they did want a pool, are they willing to pay for it? Are they willing to have their taxes be impacted by that? And C, not just are they willing to pay for the construction of a pool, but are they willing to pay for the ongoing maintenance on an annual basis as well as the operating costs? So that's what this is all about. Again, we signed on with BSC, I believe, in March. The contract was just finalized, I think, the first week in April. I'm trying to remember our date. So this literally just started. And we would like to have it done in 6 months, so we could actually say this will be done. I hope it's done with the consultant by the end of September, early October. Then we still have to come back to you and make our recommendations. So this would be good timing as far as our goal for the coming 9 months, because it's going to take the 9 months to get through the process and be able to take that information, analyze it, and come back to you with a recommendation. And then thirdly, we, as you know, we received $150,000 approval of free cash for a public safety feasibility study for our facilities. And we've been working with town council to develop an RFP. We just announced, I believe, on Friday that RFP would be available as of tomorrow. Firms will be able to come in and pick that up. We have to get it into the central register, we have to get it into a newspaper, and then we have to set up a committee that's going to review all of these. Then we have to select the consultant, then we have to go through a whole lot of state requirements under, this is actually being bid under Chapter 7. I think it's Section C, Chapter 7C, Sections 44 to 57. So there's a lot involved in this. This won't be done by January, but it will be a major focus of myself, Ed, so it'll be the finance department, my department, anyone working in my office will be working on it because we have to follow all the procurement laws, as well as the police chief, the fire chief, the building commissioner, and the town planner. So this pretty much affects every department. And it will probably take upwards of a year, so it will not, I would say, it will not be done in January, but I think it's a good thing for all of us to focus on, because then I can build it into the goals of the department heads as well as being a priority that we need to do.
Okay.
So I can pass these along to you. I did want to explain them verbally, but...
Yep, nope, just so members can see the actual written goal. And I'll wait till those are passed out, and then move on to questions. Mr. Holstrom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The 5-year facility improvement plan, originally done in January 2015, yeah, that's an ongoing project, and I feel that, you know, it's significant enough to keep that ball rolling and just as a goal, because we want to be sure that our facilities are maintained properly and repaired as needed, and I think that would definitely be a goal for you to kind of be the watchdog of, and it is in process, so let's continue that process as a goal. The swimming pool feasibility study, that's significant. I haven't heard anything one way or another, whether there's a lot of interest in it or not, but with just putting the feasibility study together, significant enough where we don't know what the outcome will be. We still have to propose it to the residents and see what they want to do. So I would say that would be a significant goal to be followed along with. And then also initiate the public facilities feasibility study. Yes, the town meeting did put that money out of free cash to get into that feasibility study, and that's not going to be a light undertaking. There's going to be a lot of work there, operations-wise, space-wise for administration, for equipment and apparatus. These three goals, to just keep an eye on those. It's going to be significant enough where those three goals, I think, would be more than enough to put in your file cabinet to keep going on for the next year. So I would agree with these 100%.
Thank you. Mr. Carpenter?
I just wanted to say that I will agree with the goals. I do just want to say that I think we do need to look at how these are set, and it isn't fair to the manager to give her 9 months to do a year goal, and we should really be looking at how we can, with her contract, to try and get this so that, I know I discussed with you about maybe doing a fiscal year so that you would at least have all the major projects done. So, but I do just want to make it clear that if something is beyond the 9 months, just so that we make that clear, so that when we get our evaluation forms, that we're judging the progress on the time that we've allotted you versus, hey, you should have gotten this done in a period of time, just to be fair to you.
No, thank you, I appreciate it. And if I may just comment on that, one thing, it might be something the board wants to discuss, maybe setting them in January, because I think it has to kind of run with the contract, because my evaluation is due in January. So in January, if it was a fiscal year, you could only evaluate me on half of the fiscal year. So if you wanted to set it in January before the evaluation process, that would be great. Technically, my contract is, I think, January 30th or 31st through, so that would work. It does cross 2 fiscal years, but it would give all of us 12 months to accomplish a goal. So, thank you. Thanks for the suggestion.
Anything else? Mr. Liberty?
I just had a quick question. This might not be possible. I was wondering with the feasibility study on the swimming pool, if there was any possibility to look into what the cost difference would be with reopening the town beach or something like that.
Through the chair, this is specific to a swimming pool. That was the focus of the grant. That would be a separate study that we would have to look into. We looked into a little bit of that at some point over the last couple of years, because it does get raised a lot. The concerns that we had were some liability concerns, and the cost of that liability and the insurance, which may also be a concern with the pool. That's something we'll have to find out. But for the purposes of this study, Mr. Liberty, we had to specify in the grant application that it was for a swimming pool. As a matter of fact, someone had asked us about a splash park. Can you look at a splash park? A splash park, we are putting in the survey that maybe that's a component of a swimming pool facility, but to get the funding, it had to be focused on the swimming pool. So thank you. But that could be another, let's maybe wait and see what comes back with this, and then maybe that's Plan B to do a study on that next.
And I'll just comment that, I appreciate the information you gave us tonight, especially with the negotiations of the contracts. We spent thousands of dollars over the years, having outside counsel negotiate these contracts, and it is significant, the amount of time you do this. And I thank you for taking this on to save those dollars and still put out these challenging goals. So we'll be back here in a year doing an evaluation, shaking our head as to what you've accomplished again in a year. So I support these goals as well.
And if I can just add one thing, and I should have had, on the collective bargaining, I also want to point out that Sharon Kwiatkowski does the contract integration. So once we are done and we get the MOA, Sharon then takes the prior contract and merges it in to the new one, which is another whole. As a matter of fact, last year, it hadn't been done in probably 5 or 6 sessions, which is about 20 years. So she had to actually take all of those pieces and integrate it into one, and we have to continue to do that so we don't get behind it. So I want to thank her for that work, because that's, again, that was something that was being done through our contracted legal services. It was expensive.
Thank you, Sharon. If there's nothing else, is there a motion to accept the 3 goals as presented?
I'll make a motion that we accept the goals as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Thank you for
Oh, thank you.
providing us
Thank you
that
very much.
information. The next item we have is to request to declare surplus equipment. The message is from Mr. Mitchell to declare 8 pieces of equipment as surplus. Are there any questions for Ms. Jacobson or Mr. Coyle?
I'd like a motion that we approve the list as submitted in the memo from Mr. Mitchell dated April 17th, 2018.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Next, Ms. Jacobson, we have the announcement on National Grid Community Incentive Award Program.
Yes, I'm going to ask our town planner, who's also our energy manager, Matt Benoit, to come up and share our good news on this, and just to maybe just explain what this is and how we got involved. It is one of our green initiatives that we're very proud of.
Have a seat. Welcome.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. It is with delight I get to share an award that the town won recently for a community incentive program. What this entailed was several letters that went out of the mail from the energy manager that said something to the effect of, if you haven't had a mass save audit yet, please do it. And you probably got 4 to 6 of these letters in the mail. And I started getting calls to the effect of, I've already done it, stop sending me letters. But the citizens participated in this program all throughout 2017, and it helped us raise over $20,000 that we were able to put into an account for future energy efficiency measures. So what National Grid provided us was the 2017 Shining Community Award. It was presented to us at their Waltham facility along with 9 other communities for the efforts, and I just can't thank enough the citizens for participating in the program and town administration for supporting us throughout the program, and Homeworks Energy for helping with some of the public outreach initiatives as well.
Can you turn that just a bit? Look at that camera. There you go.
How's that?
Like they can see it now. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Very
Thank you very
impressive.
much.
Thank you for your work on that.
And I want to thank the board also, because when we talked about doing this, we had brought this to the board, and we had a lengthy discussion about what the benefits of this were. We actually did a presentation on it, and you were fully supportive, so we thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you for your work on that.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks.
Thank you, Matt.
The next item is the municipal aggregation rates for 2018, 2019.
He's running away with the award, you said. I want to turn to Matt to explain the detail, but I'm just going to give a general overview. So myself, Ed Kazanovich, and Matt had a recent conversation with Colonial Power, which is our municipal aggregation consultant, because our contract was due. We were trying to get on a schedule of having a contract from June to June instead of December to December. So we were looking for either an 18-month contract or a 6-month contract or anything that was off of that 1 year, because the rates are lower in the spring than they are in the fall, so generally. So we thought it would be best to get onto this schedule. So I'm going to have Matt explain now why we're on the June to June as opposed to the, we were on December to December.
Sure.
And the whole 6-month issue and all that.
Yes, so as town manager had alluded to, rates that start in November or December are typically higher. It's based on demand through National Grid and a whole bunch of other variables, but I'm sure you see your National Grid bills in the winter and you notice a higher supply rate on those, so sometimes 10, 12 cents per kilowatt hour. And in the spring, they tend to drop to compensate for a lot of the usage that took place over the winter. So we thought it would be advantageous to try to get a rate pricing in the summer, in which we had received recently. So we posted on the town website for what our rate will be this summer, and that rate, although is higher than normal, even for National Grid. It's the first time I've seen a summer rate over 10 cents per kilowatt hour since I've been looking at this stuff since 2012 in my own personal recognizance. So The rate that we are seeing from National Grid is going to be, well, it reads .10870. That's about 10.8 cents per kilowatt hour in the summer. I haven't seen a rate like that in the summer in a long time. So our rate is slightly less than that at .10715 for the summer. And what we were able to do through our consultant at Colonial Power Group is take 2 6-month programs, and if we're able to adjust a price in one direction, the other one goes in the opposite. Now, we were looking at our rate of .10715, but we also didn't want to raise or lower that even less, because then our winter rate would go up, and that's the rate that's unknown right now. It's projected to be as high as 13.9 cents in the winter. That'll be a really high rate, the second highest rate that we've had since 2012. So at 12.165 projected for this winter rate for us, we'd be about 1.8 cents less than National Grid, and that's a projection from our consultant who's been nearly spot on almost for the last 2 years. So we're taking their recommendation. This puts us at an average rate between the 2 6-month periods of about 11.5 cents, but it does keep us less than National Grid's average rate over that same period.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Thank you for your work on this.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Excuse me. So the next item is the public meeting for the town swimming pool feasibility study.
Thank you. So I did just mention the swimming pool, but what I do want to point out, and the flyer is in your packet, it's been posted online. It's on ACTV, our social media sites, our website. It's been posted at various places around town. We are holding a community meeting. It will be the first one of 2 community meetings. It's May 7th, which is a Monday evening in this room. There's no board meeting that night, so we're using this room at 6:30. And it's open to the public, and the consultant will be running the meeting and basically trying to get some input from the public again as to whether you'd use a pool, how often would you use a pool, would you pay for a pool? Excuse me, I knew that was coming. Sorry, allergies. So we encourage people to come. We had put it on our website, the fire department put it on their website, and we were getting questions from some residents saying, well, where is it going to go, and how do we know until the cost is? And that's what this is all about. A feasibility study is to look at what those costs are, to look at where it could potentially go. We don't know yet. This is not by far anything that's already been planned. This is something that we're looking to get data to see if we should proceed with the next steps. So we will be getting some preliminary cost estimates of building an indoor facility, an outdoor facility. We'll be doing some preliminary analysis on where it could go, but we do need to get feedback from the residents as to whether they'd be willing to support the cost of something like this. So this is an important meeting. There will be a second one, and that one will be in June, and I'll have to get that date for you. I apologize. I think it's June 20th, but that will be a follow-up meeting, and we'll have some more data at that point. So we did not put that second date on here because we didn't want people to say, oh, I'll just go in June, and then they might not come in June. So we've just got the May meeting on here for now. And any questions, just contact our office. Again, we're not going to have any kind of level of detail. This is really a meeting to just listen to the residents and see what their needs are.
Again, so that's the swimming pool feasibility study on Monday, May 7th, 6:30 PM here in this room, and we encourage your participation. And the last item the town manager has is the proposed WRTA route changes.
Yes, through the chair, Selectman Carpenter had contacted me to ask me some questions, and great questions, and I thought, based on that, it would be important to bring this to the entire board to share with you. The WRTA, this will be the second time in probably 2 years, has proposed some route changes. Last year, we had brought these to your attention. They were very moderate changes last year. I believe it was one route that was affected, and they were just eliminating one of the stops during the day. The short of it is, they had requested a budget of the state that they did not so far receive in the preliminary budget. Now, that could change. So if the House budget went through, they would be not getting the amount that they needed to move forward, in which case they would have to make adjustments to their routes because they're not going to have the funding to continue their service. So I included in your packet a presentation that they had given at a couple of their public meetings as to what the route changes were and why they were necessary. Basically, and I just did pick up some brochures today, but the maps are in here, it's just hard to see. It's Route 25, Route 29, and I think Route 42 affect Auburn. There are a couple of different scenarios. The WRTA isn't sure which one. Some of the scenarios propose reduction of service on all of these routes. One of the scenarios proposes elimination of one of the routes on Saturday and Sunday, and elimination of a couple of the stops, which is a reduction. So they really don't have a final proposal yet. So we want to assure people right now, no final decisions been made. There is a meeting this week at the WRTA, and my understanding is they won't be making a decision until they find out more from the state. So the WRTA is encouraging residents and users of both the paratransit service and their ridership to encourage them to reach out to their state senator, state representative, and encourage them to support the funding for the WRTA because it may affect the route. So I think it's probably a wise idea to send a letter on behalf of all of us. You know, I can prepare that and just say on behalf of the Board of Selectmen who voted, if you'd like me to do that, at least get a letter and go on record as saying that we are concerned about the route changes. We understand that there are budget constraints, but we don't want to see Auburn ridership affected the way some of these routes are proposed.
Mr. Holstrom first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the chair, I know that there have been people that have approached me from the senior center and other seniors around town that were talking at the senior center that the bus route up Packagug Street, if there's no bus available for the seniors and there's no bus routes, then there's difficulty of getting around. So I don't know if there's any way that we could get a survey or get some kind of, something on record of how much interest there would be of, a Packagug route for them, and just maybe incorporate that into part of this information package so that we can say, you know what, we've looked into it and this is the cost and we can't do it. So just to give them some idea of how much interest there would be for bus ridership up the Packagug Way, that'd be something we want to take a look into also.
Through the chair, we can certainly ask the WRTA. They do ridership analysis, and they've made these recommendations based on the usage of these routes. So basically, I've just shown you here the routes that are affected in Auburn,
okay.
But they look at, for instance, I don't recall which of these routes, but one of these routes is their number 24 out of number 25 most used, so it's the least used. So that's the one that they're looking at. So it is based on their numbers.
Okay.
But you raise a good point. What I should say is this does not affect the WRTA shuttle service that we run through the senior center. That is separate. So the seniors should not be concerned. We still have the shuttles, we still have our drivers, we still offer service. If you need assistance, you need to learn about it. If you need the ADA component of it, contact the senior center. That route runs through Auburn, and it runs weekdays, and it also runs throughout the region. It goes 2 towns out, so doctor's appointments, shopping. It's a great service. We've had several meetings, outreach meetings at various, not just the senior center, but at Abbey Pond and other facilities, to let our seniors know that the service is available to them. So that service is not affected by this. This is their standard
Fixed
route service, which also, to your point, and I believe Mr. Carpenter asked me, we don't know how many riders this affects at this point. They have not shared those numbers yet, and maybe they're willing to do that. They seem to keep track of the numbers. They have to for their funding purposes, so we can get those numbers.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Carpenter, then Mr. Berthew.
So I would ask the board support to send a letter under the manager and the chairman's signature. It makes sense that it be one letter from us, not only to the RTA, but also to our delegation. But my concern...
Is there a motion, Mr. Carpenter?
Not yet.
Okay. Just wanted to check before we moved on.
Yeah. No, well, other people have questions, so I wouldn't do that. But the other part of this is the ADA, while yes, during the day, during the hours of operation, they will not be affected, but if you're a person who uses ADA service, if some of these routes are affected and you use them, you can become ineligible on the weekends and off hours. Our center is only open till 4 and 3, depending on the day. So there are many people who use this service to get to work. I know several people in town who depend on this to get from home to work, back to home. So it's very important that we maintain that service. But I would just ask board support for that.
Mr. Berthium?
Yeah, I was basically going to say the same thing. I think we definitely need to try to keep as many routes, coming through town, not just for our own townspeople, but, for out-of-town people to get to the Auburn Mall and back, and now with Reliant doctor's offices and back, if anything, I would have loved to have seen an increase, because, we have a lot of things starting to go on here in Auburn, and, reducing the bus route is definitely a huge concern. So if Mr. Carpenter turns that into a motion, I'll certainly second it.
Is there anything else on this? Mr. LaLiberty?
I'll just add that we're having the same conversation in Amherst about these cuts, and I agree with Mr. Carpenter and Mr. Berthium, and I would also support a letter.
Mr. Benoit?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just wanted to relay some information that I received attending some of the regional planning meetings lately. And one of the things that came up about Route 25 was at its first original public hearing, this route was actually scheduled for deletion. They've since gone over a couple different scenarios, as Ms. Jacobson mentioned, about trimming it on weekends or trimming it on whatnot. And they held a public hearing early in April at Union Station. It was unfortunately not well attended. However, the representative that I was speaking to at CMRPC said they have received a lot of written correspondence in opposition to the deletion of Route 25. And just for the record, I just wanted to clarify Route 25 as it comes in from Southridge Street through Worcester near Hope Avenue. That's going to pass a new project that was approved by the Planning Board for Central One Federal Credit Union. They're going to be creating a call center at that location that could have up to 100 jobs. It's another location similar to what Mr. Berthium mentioned about Reliant Medical bringing jobs to a location that's right on the bus route. So I'm certainly in support of maintaining this route too, especially given some of the economic development improvements that have been happening in Auburn, most specifically along this bus route and this Route 25. So I'd be hoping for the board's support to keep that route also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Would be in order, Madam Chair. I would make a motion that the board join with the town manager under the chair's signature in our opposition to the reduction of service on these 3 routes, as well as a letter to our delegation asking their fervent support that they fund this fully so that we can ensure that people both can get to town and those who work here can get to work. And those are the type of things that are very important and part of the quality of life.
Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is unanimous. And so just a reminder to anyone watching or listening to please reach out to your delegation budget. The House began their budget debates today. When they're concluded, it goes over to the Senate and they begin theirs. So budget debates are already underway and they're already making decisions on this. So thank you for your support on that. Do you have anything else?
All set, thank you.
Okay, we have some tabled items for the Board of Selectmen. I don't believe we have any updates. You guys have not met on the subcommittee, correct?
Right.
You'll get us an update. And the proposed plastic bag ban, just a reminder that we are still accepting comments. The email address is still up, or can call the office. Mr. Holstrom?
One question on that, the proposed plastic bag ban. I know that we've had a hearing that's been open, and it continues to stay open, so we get further information, but to what point do we continue to keep this hearing open? We should close it at some point. When do you foresee us doing that?
So that's why I just wanted to mention it, that we are still accepting comments. If we don't receive many more over the next couple of weeks, we'll put it on an agenda again to see if there's anybody who wants to come in to comment, and then we could potentially close the hearing and then take action or not.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything else on that?
None on that.
Okay. So under Board of Selectmen member items, we don't have anything specific given to us, but I do want to talk about the April 30th meeting, which is next Monday, which is our 5th meeting. To date, we don't have anything on the agenda. There certainly is not time to put anything on the agenda that would require a public hearing. As I've always said, if there's something that we need to attend to, we should schedule a meeting, but unless something comes in, I would entertain a motion to not hold the 5th Monday meeting unless an item comes in that needs our attention.
Second.
Is there any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, so voted. So we will not be meeting on April 30th unless informed by the town manager that something has come in that needs our attention. And also just a reminder that we have town meeting on May 1st. We have taken positions on all of the warrant articles, so there's no reason to meet prior to the meeting. So town meeting starts at 7 p.m. Is there anything else? Mr. Carpenter?
I just wanted to note the passing of Beth Johnson, and I was hoping the board could take a moment of silence for her.
Yes, and thank you for that. We'll take a moment of silence for Elizabeth Johnson, who passed away this week. Her services are this Thursday at Britton Wallace. Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Is there anything else on the Board of Selectmen items? Is there any additional public comment? Mr. Page?
Good evening, Wayne Page, 90 Old Common Road. I'm just wanted to say thank you to the Board of Health Department, the director and the assistants, because we had a function this weekend that I'm running for Selectmen, and it got into a crunch, and they stepped up to the plate and got everything straightened out with us and made it happen, where if it wasn't for their great job they had done, everything would have fell apart. And I just want to make sure that the people know that the health department was very great and very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additional public comment? We have no minutes. I will entertain a motion.
Second.
We have a motion
Aye.
to adjourn. All those in favor? Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Thank you.